Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Answer in 10. We have quite a few questions on the queue, but I wanted to start with saying a good afternoon to everyone out there. I hope the last week treated you well. Before I answer the questions that came into our queue last week, I have a promo to talk about. So, have you ever wondered what makes a good sourdough? If you have made sourdough before, you know how hard it is to keep the process consistent, right? And not only that, you need to provide a really great tasting product. So, we bakers use different kinds of starters, right? Some of us like to use the more solid, firm starters, and some of us like to use the liquid starters that are pumpable. There is no right or wrong in this, okay? But you need to know that the more firm your sourdough is, the more acidic acid producing bacteria you're encouraging. Okay, so with firmer sourdough starters, you get more acidic taste. With more liquid sourdough starters, you get the sweeter lactic acid taste. Okay, so I would like to encourage you to come to our sourdough class and learn more from people like Brian Chang when he talks about controlling these processing parameters. Also, in the seminar, we will be taking a virtual live tour of the Sourdough Library being led by the world's only sourdough librarian, Carl de Smet. Okay, so live streaming in 8 a.m. into Belgium. We don't do this all the time, so you got to come for this. Next, 8:45, we'll be starting to mix the dough in the lab. And if you can't be here in person, great way to live stream to see what we're doing. So we are offering two ways to attend this particular seminar. One is in person and one is via live stream. So after mixing the dough in the lab, the fun stuff, we will go into a 9:30 session with Dr. Marco Gabatti, and he will be talking about how sourdough can affect the functional features of baked goods. And he, I believe, is probably the top scientist in the world right now studying sourdough. So you can't miss his talk. So at 10:15, we will have a presentation by Brian Chang from Prados, and he's going to be talking about the process of sourdough and how you can control the process to get what you want. Sweeter sourdough, acidic sourdough, whatever sourdough. Less sour sourdough, more sour sourdough. Okay, so he can help you manipulate that process. So next comes my favorite part of the session, 11 o'clock, which will go into really shaping the sourdough, fermenting, proofing, final proof, and then we go into the eating part, right? So Fred Danzer from Parados is going to come and bake all these amazing sourdough to pair with the different lunch meats that we have. You know, if anything, you have to come to Portland just to taste that. Okay. After lunch, we will go into the importance of flour and water quality. Okay. And this is really important. Like, people don't understand flour and water is probably almost 80% of your process. Well, no, I'm sorry. It's about 90, almost 80-90% of your process. So a lot of attention needs to be going into your flour quality, to your water quality, and how do you keep these consistent so that the production of your sourdough is going to be consistent. That's the biggest hurdle and challenge of sourdough, right? It's just like, oh, I can't control this. I can't control this. that I can control the bacteria in the air. I can control the kind of water I have, but you can control the kind of flour you have. And if you come to the class, I'll be sharing methods on how you can control water as well. Okay. And to wrap it up, it's me. I'm going to be talking about sourdough quality and shelf life extension of sourdough at 2 p.m., the last session of the day. And I hope none of you will be sleeping on me because I took the last session of the day. But also the reason why I took the last session of the day is because I can carry on the round table. And I love round tables because this is where we actually solve real life questions. I love round tables. So we will have the round table at 2:45, ending the session at 3:15. So on the East Coast, it's about 6:15. So appreciate you staying late, but we start late too. All right. Don't forget, we brought in a master baker for you. Okay. Fred Denzer from Parados will be baking up a storm, things like sourdough baguette, Italian rye, pumpernickel, yum. So bring your appetites. And I just wanted to do a shout out to our sponsors, Parados, Solange's Mills, Bake Watch, and Lallemand. Without them, we aren't able to pull this fantastic seminar together for you. And as a treat today, I will be giving away the next 5 seats at 50% off. Okay. Type in Parados, capital P-U-R-A-T-O-S 50 on the link below when checking out, and you will get 50% off. So let's get to the first question of the day. All right. And since I'm live on here, just go ahead and type your questions and I will be able to see it and answer it before I leave. I know I'm going to go over my 10 minutes, but, you know, tell me something new. All right. I am looking for flavor compounds to improve the taste. Soft roll bread. Okay. I think you're asking me how you can improve the flavor of your buns and rolls. So there are a few ways to do this. Okay. Naturally, and I always like to approach this naturally, you can increase your fermentation time. When you increase the fermentation time, you improve the taste of the product. This is a natural, this is a given for any baking process. Okay. So besides that, if you don't have space, if you're a high-speed industrial baker that needs lots of space to increase your fermentation time, if you don't have the processing equipment and the space to do that, then you have to go to an ingredient solution. Okay. Parados has a line. There you go. Parados. There you go. Parados has a line of flavor compounds, Authentic and Sapore, where you can use to add in at 5 to 10% to improve the flavor of your bun product. And these, I've tasted this. These are fabulous. So you got to at least give them a call and ask them to send you samples that you can use in your buns and rolls. Lallemand also has a few options. So if Lallemand is your yeast provider, you could also reach out to them and ask them the same flavor questions that you ask me. Other people like the Laval or Le Saf would also have similar solutions for you. So between the 3 of them, you should be able to find something. Okay? Good luck. I understand that sodium metabisulfite is used in conjunction with salt and an alkaline solution. Let me take a drink first. To make a Chinese noodle called la mian. So is there a recommended usage for that? Remember that this is Bakerpedia and I answer questions only for bakers. And yes, wheat is a huge contributor to noodles and pasta as well. So I'm not able to answer this question, and I'm going to direct you to the Wheat Marketing Center here in Portland, Dr. Jane Bach, and I will put her information down here that you could send your information to, right? So she does all the noodle studies, and she knows the chemistry behind sodium metabisulfite. Sorry, I can't help you with that. I have seen suppliers with several types of transglutaminase, and I would like to buy one for baking application for use in puff pastry. Are there different types of TGM, or would any work? Well, TGM is used for gluten enhancement, right? You can get that with many other ways too, but I am really questioning you why you want to use TGM in puff pastry. Puff pastry doesn't require very much of a gluten function. And but anyway, since you asked whether TGM is the same, I will answer no. Every enzyme supplier has a different process for producing enzymes. I mean, producing enzyme is a fermentation process. So fermentation requires heat, temperature, and time. So the variation of this two with their special patented process of producing that particular enzyme is going to be different for every supplier. It's like a baker, like yourself. You know, I mean, the way you produce a puff pastry is going to be different from your competitor producing a puff pastry. Just different methods, different ingredients, right? So there are different quality and types of TGM. So you just need to reach out to people like Novozymes and ask them, why the difference? Which one can I use for my puff pastry? So you can find Novozymes on our sponsor showcase here at on the website. All right, good luck. So Dr. Lin, thanks very much for this. You're welcome. I have two questions. So for a brand like Little Bites and Loaf Cakes, what would be the expected shelf life? And what would be the main contributor to softness besides packaging? That's the first part of the question. Okay, let me answer the first part of the question. The main contributor to softness in shelf-stable cakes is, can you guess? All right, I'll give you a minute to think about that. Okay, maybe a minute's too long, but surprisingly, it's soft shortening, fat, or anything that contributes to the shortness of the bite that disrupts the gluten network that gives you a very soft and moist mouthfeel. So fat is going to be your number one contributor to shelf life. I know that's surprising to a lot of people, but that's it. It's very plain and simple. Fat, just add fat in. Does enzyme work? Yeah, of course, enzyme does work, but fat is easier to use, and enzyme needs a special kind of blend, and really depends on your formula and the kind of enzymes that you need. Okay, so for enzymes, enzyme questions, you can reach out to people like Novozymes, or if you're a smaller baker, people like Parados has excellent shelf life extenders for cakes. So reach out to them; they would have a solution. Second part of the question, are you saying that whey protein will result in a gummy texture and a lack of softness? Well, that's a very out of the blue question, because you're not giving me any kind of context. This is really hard to answer. Whey protein is an excellent texturizer, depending on the situation that you use it in. Okay. The reason why something is going to result in a gummy texture is because you overhydrate it. So once you overhydrate it, it loses its function. And you don't bake it out enough, that's where you get the gumminess. So if you fine-tune your recipe to include whey protein, you should not get a gummy texture, okay? You should get a really nice springy texture. So why the lack of softness? The lack of softness is because you did not get enough volume in there. So if you're using whey protein, I think in your case, I believe maybe you're trying to replace eggs. And if you don't do it the right way, you're not going to give additional volume, and you're going to result in something that's a lower volume that gives you a more firm texture. So remember, in cakes, always try to increase as much air bubbles in there as much as possible so that you can increase the softness, right? How do you know if you increase the amount of bubbles in there? If you are a cake researcher, there's only one tool on this earth that can help you quantify that, and that's C-Cell. Okay, I'm not kidding on that. C-Cell from Calibre would be able to help you quantify the amount of bubbles in a single surface area. So that's sidetracking. So, but if you're a cake expert and you're a cake science, you care about the softness and you're trying to quantify the use of all these things, you need to have a C-Cell in your lab. So you can contact Calibre and the C-Cell people through our sponsor showcase as well on our website. Okay, next, I am currently working on chlorinated flour in sponge cake, and I have a problem with coring. So when I reduce the amount of baking soda, the coring disappears, but the volume of my cake is reduced. What caused this? Coring, I believe here is what a lot of us call tubes or tubing in the cake. So if this is the muffin, that means the cake, the core is going up like tunnels, right? Like if you cut the cake, you will be able to see down the tunnel. That's what coring is. Okay. Chlorinated flour, great. Baking soda. Okay, so what it's telling me that you are basing your leavening system on baking soda, which is not such a good idea. Don't do that. Your system should be well balanced by a leavening acid and baking soda, not just baking soda. Okay. Which also tells me that when you remove it, then your volume decreases, right? So try to go to the route where you have a well-balanced leavening system. Go to our leavening acids page and you will learn a little bit more about that. And you need the baking soda to react well with the acid. And because it's not reacting well, you're getting this massive amounts of tunneling happening, probably at various times. And you are depending on the volume based on baking soda, where you should be depending your volume on a well-balanced leavening system. So I have to admit that I am not a cake expert, and I won't make you help you make your cores disappear. But I know a person who can, and if you go to our consultants page, you can hire Barbara Heidolf to solve this issue for you. Okay, and it's all outlined on our page on what is required to hire a person like her. She's excellent in solving any kind of cake problems. And we do have a clean label cake course coming up probably in April, May, but go to our growth hacking seminar page to check it out. And you should find more information about the clean label cake session. So if you're a cake developer, that's a really good one to go to. All right, before I go, don't forget, I am giving away 5 seats at 50% off. The next 5 who sign up gets it 50% off. So hurry. Use Puratos, P-U-R-A-T-O-S. That's capital P, U-R-A-T-O-S, 50. when you're checking out, and you will get 50% off. Okay, I will see you all next week again when I'm back here on Tuesdays to answer baking questions for 10 minutes or more, because today looks like it's 20 minutes. Okay, so ask all the questions you want, and if you don't get me right here on this live stream, then go to our webpage, use any of the comments on any of the topic pages that you're interested in, and you should be able to get your questions across to me. All right, bakers, get back to work, make some dough. Bye.